Hello, and welcome to the Hybrid Cloud Day Local Data Processing Hour. My name is Nits Jeganathan, and I'm a product manager in the Snow Services family. Today, you had heard earlier about how you can use Outpost for processing data locally. Now we'll be talking about using Snow family of products for processing data locally at rugged and mobile edge, where connections are not always reliable. So AWS provides you a broad set of tools, whether you are running your applications and workloads in the cloud, or whether you are running them in on-prem locations, or on your factory IoT using third-party devices, or you are running in a completely rugged environments where it is on a ship or an aircraft using Snow products. So we provide you the greatest set of options for you to be able to pick the appropriate workload and also the appropriate service to meet your needs. Snow family of products essentially serves two broader use cases. One is edge computing, where you could essentially run your AWS cloud applications on your disconnected and mobile edge, where there is no internet connectivity, either for instance on a submarine or an aircraft or even in a space station. And then the other side is if you have data that you need to move from your locations, either ongoing data transfer from your self-driving vehicles, or you have from an on-prem database, you want to move to AWS, you can use Snow products for offline data migration. Snow family's purpose is essentially to enable you to run edge compute workloads at the disconnected edge, where connections are not always reliable. In some cases, it's not allowed to be to have external connectivity. And this is where Snow shines, where you can essentially bring your AWS workloads and the same APIs that you are used to in the cloud onto the Snow products, and you can essentially run your workload in completely disconnected from the outside world. And Snow, because we are running outside of the data center, our Snow products are built completely secure. We have AES 256-bit encryptions. We have tamper evidence and tamper-resistant products and ruggedized cases, so that your workload and your data is secure at the rugged edge. So from a Snow family point of view, we have two broad classes of products right now. One is the Snowball Edge. As you can see there, it's roughly about the size of a carry-on luggage. It's about 50 pounds. It's got 52 vCPUs and more flavors we will continue to have, where you might have 104 vCPUs and 416 gigabits of RAM. So essentially, these are military spec, capable devices, and it can handle, G's of impact up to 200 G's. So for instance, if you drop something on this device, it can withstand 200 G's of shock forces. And as I told you about earlier, it has 256-bit encryption, and it is built tough and it is built secure. And you can deploy it outside in a outside of a data center where it can be too hot or too cold. And for instance, customers in the public sector domain, or or essentially telco customers, if they want to deploy it outside next to a disaster recovery zone, you could use a Snowball Edge. We have another class of products, which is a Snow Cone. This is a smaller cousin. It's a backpack carryable, 5 pounds device. It's built with the same amount of ruggedness. It can handle up to 5G in terms of shock force and vibration resistance. And think of Snow Cone as your vehicle for running a smaller edge compute applications for, let's say, an IoT industrial workload, or instance, if you want to clean up the data before you move to the cloud, you could use that for that. And again, from built secure from ground up, 256-bit encryption, the same security is a tenet that flows all across Snow products. Now, before we go into and talk to a couple of customers, I want to kind of touch upon what industry verticals or customer segments where Snow has a broader impact and also interest from customers. First and foremost is the public sector domain, where all the governments and essentially, as you can see, a helicopter or a Navy ship, they have used Snow devices for running edge compute applications. For instance, either for tactical edge or even for disaster recovery applications. And we are also seeing a strong interest from 5G telco networks. We will talk to a customer today who's using Snow for building private 5G networks for disconnected use. And industrial IoT, especially with the Snow Cone device, Like for industrial IoT use cases are starting to resonate more, where it becomes an AWS first-party device to run IoT greengrass and also like partner capabilities. Finally, we are also the media and entertainment industry, like all the customers who have like petabytes of data that they need to move to AWS and they want to do like edge compute applications, they also use Snow products. First, let's talk to a industrial IoT customer. And Kashmira has had a chance to talk to CloudRail, one of our partners, about like how you can use Snowcone and CloudRail software for an industrial IoT use case.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us at Hybrid Cloud Day. I'm Kashmira, and I'm a product manager in AWS Snow Family. AWS for Snowcone is the smallest, most portable AWS Snow Family device. And today we have with us Patrick from CloudRail. Hi, Patrick. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Patrick. I'm one of the co-founders and CTO at CloudRail. So I'm responsible for all product and technology. And we're based out of Mannheim, Germany.
We're happy to have you here. Tell us about the CloudRail product that you're going to demo for us on Snowcone, AWS Snowcone, and what kind of problem are you trying to solve?
Well, simply put, connectivity, and specifically connectivity at scale. So as you all know, every IoT project needs data, right? Because without data, we can't build any applications in the cloud. So currently, this takes weeks or even months to just connect a single machine. So yeah, if you have to do this again for the second machine, the third machine, and so on, right? So this doesn't scale very well and is very, very costly. So we provide a solution to connect industrial machines to AWS IoT within just a matter of minutes instead of weeks or months. So that makes it the ideal solution for a proof of concept and to just prove value very fast. How we do this is basically in two parts. So we have a hardware component or a software component, both works, that goes into the shop floor and is connected to standard industrial hardware, like sensors, for instance. All of them can just be plugged together by customers' maintenance teams and connected to the internet, and that's pretty much it. Everything else happens through a central device management platform that we provide from anywhere in the world and without having to have any prior knowledge about industrial protocols at all. Now, these two things together really allow you to get POCs off the ground very, very fast. And after that, we also allow enterprise customers to securely scale those use cases and proof of concepts across multiple sites and operate large IoT installations with thousands of gateways. And in the demo today, I'll show how you can connect a vibration sensor to AWS IoT sitewise in less than 3 minutes using a Snowcone.
That's interesting. What kind of use cases are you targeting?
Well, we currently support more than 12,000 industrial sensors and actuators out of the box, which means that, there's a sensor for every use case. And additionally, we also support OPC-UA, which is a standard for modern assets, as well as Modbus, which is mainly used for energy monitoring use cases. And as you know, that becomes more and more popular as we speak. And in general, we aim to be the one connectivity layer you need that is secure, scalable, and centrally managed while still being independent of the use case.
That's a wonderful concept. So why should anyone use CloudRail on Snow devices?
Well, first of all, in addition to the gateway that I talked about before, we also provide a containerized version of our connectivity software for customers who already have a managed gateway, like Snowcone, for instance. And that container can simply be installed on any Snow device to turn it into an industrial connectivity and edge gateway, while still being managed through our central device management platform. So you have the same user experience as with our own gateways. So what makes CloudRail and Snow a great choice for IoT projects? So Snow devices are rugged devices, right? So they can handle difficult conditions, which is often the case on shop floors. They are made for offline scenarios, so you can cache data very easily and you can manage it locally as well. And last but not least, it allows you to pre-process a lot of things at the edge with additional software that you can just add on top of whatever we provide.
Amazing. Then how does one get started?
Well, simply reach out to me or any of my colleagues after the demo and put us to the test.
Thanks, Patrick, for chatting with us today. We will now move on to the demo. Patrick will show us CloudRail application on Snowcone.
So in this demo, I'm going to show you how to turn an AWS IoT Snowcone into an industrial edge gateway and connect it to secondary sensors and send the data from those into AWS IoT Sitewise in just a few minutes. So all we need is, well, an AWS Snowcone. We need an IO-Link master, which is basically a sensor hub that has 4 ports. And we also have a vibration sensor, which is also from IFM. Let's start our demo on the Ops Hub. So as you can see, I have one device in here, which is my Snowcone device. So I can click on that and get a lot of information about what's going on there. And as you can see, I have one instance running. That instance is also conveniently named CloudRail OS. I have the private IP address right here. So this is what I'm going to use now to connect to that instance, just to show you that, well, our container is actually running there. So I'm going to type docker container list. And as you can see, our container is on the device, up and running. And yeah, let's head into our device management cloud to see what it's doing there. So this is where all of my CloudRail enabled devices will be listed. As you can see, there's already a CloudRail box and a Snowcone device, which is the one that we're gonna have a closer look at today. So we see a bunch of information here, like online, offline statuses for both of my devices. I see what firmware version they're on, and a bit of additional information. So if I want to configure them, I go to New Connection and get 2 choices. So either go with directly connected sensors or OPC-UA servers. So in this case, we go with directly connected sensors. And what I'm doing now is connecting one vibration sensor to it, which will be automatically discovered, as you can see here. I can just select it from the UI, go to next step, decide whether I want to read or write from the device. In this case, I want to read. I enter an interval of 1 second just for testing purposes. Go to the next step. Now here I'm going to be able to select IoT Sitewise. Enter an asset path for my newly created sensor. So I'll choose Snowcone as my path. Enter a device name, in this case, vibration. Can add a description if I want to. Otherwise, I just go to create. What we are doing in the background is creating all the asset models and all the actual assets that are involved in the process. So there will be an asset for Snowcone, which has a child asset called vibration. Now this is all being generated in the background automatically for you. So we know the data models for all those 12,000 sensors, so we can auto-generate these models and the assets behind it. So that's done now. And all I'm going to get here is then basically a list of data points or my data schema that's available for this specific sensor. This is obviously also reflected on Sitewise, but you can also see it here, and also an auto-generated sample. Now, that's all good. Let's head into Sitewise. Now, as you can see right now, there's no device there. So if I refresh, I'll see my Snowcone asset right here. It has one child asset called vibration. This is where I'm going to look into right now. So as you can see, there is data coming in for all the different values. There are quite a few here. So all of them are currently sending some data in here. Let's have a closer look at the impact. So as you can see, currently this is pretty much around 0. Now, if I go ahead and hit it on my table a little bit, you can basically see that there's a spike coming in right now. So that's it for the small demo. As you can see, it's pretty easy.
Okay. Welcome, Akhil, to the Hybrid Cloud Day Local Edge Processing Hour. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Nits. Excited to be here and looking forward to our conversation.
Tell us a little bit about JMA Wireless and how does JMA, provide value to your customers?
Sure. So JMA is a global innovator in the mobile wireless connectivity space. We are an American company and one of the few providers who can provide a fully virtualized RAN solution. Not only do we provide a fully virtualized solution, we are also one of the only providers who focuses on Open RAN. So we can provide a carrier-grade Open RAN solution in a virtualized format. We are American-based, not just from a design perspective, but also we have manufacturing here in the US. And from a market point of view, we traditionally focus both on the carrier segment as well as private wireless for our enterprise and government customers. One thing unique that I'll highlight about JMA is because we have an end-to-end depth in our RAN portfolio, we are able to understand the needs of what private wireless connectivity needs.
Awesome. That's great to hear, Akhil. So tell us a little bit about how you are using AWS and Snow products for your private 5G solutions and also like local data processing at the edge.
Absolutely. A couple of years ago, we started engagement with AWS where we were really trying to focus on simplifying deployment for our end customers. And we had enterprise and the Department of Defense in the US government as our primary target. What we emphasized was simplicity and efficiency, which meant how easily I could deploy my solution. And then furthermore, how I can make the operations very efficient, right? So with these two kind of key principles, we worked on creating a packaged end-to-end solution with AWS Snow team. So we took core assets, the JMA RAN management assets, and deployed it on the Snowball Edge product, and we brought in the RAN solution. Some of the things that we really appreciated about the product was the ruggedness, right? We could, one of the examples that we deployed was a housing project, especially within COVID, connectivity was needed. And we took like a closet where we could very easily, stack up the Snowball Edge device, not necessarily, looking for IT specific environments. Where we are today in that journey is trying to give our customers a more smaller footprint. So we are bringing the RAN application itself on top of the Snowball Edge product. So this way, we can not only look at the ruggedness capabilities, but also an end-to-end solution so we can leverage both at the edge as well as in scenarios where we need to do a hybrid, localized deployment and some assets sitting in the cloud.
That's awesome. So Akhil, like as you are talking about like customer use cases and examples, can you provide like more details about where you are finding more customer interest for these kind of solutions outside of essentially residential locations as you're talking about?
No, sure thing. We, from a JMA point of view, are focusing on three main growth segments, if you may. The first one is the traditional telco carrier market, where, again, carriers are looking to take solutions to their end business customers. And the focus has been on ORAN and CloudRail as a disruption. And given the flexibility that we see with Snowball Edge, we are able to leverage to provide a front haul 7.2x split connection. So this gives us an opportunity to work with the carrier community, giving them the differentiation with ORAN. The second segment that is very interesting for us is the enterprise space. This is an area where we have a book of business. We have a DAS offering in the company where we have experience working in stadium venues and the like. And here the focus really has been compact deployment and really making the deployment simplistic. So here we are looking at examples like hospitality scenarios or stadiums or bringing up a live network on demand for marketing events and shows and things of that nature. Finally, where we see a lot of traction is the US government. We see demand for tactical solutions for private network. We see disaster recovery scenarios where you need to have private wireless connectivity. So there we're working on a specific SKU to work for the US government where the disconnected mode and the ruggedness is again a factor that we are bringing to the table. So we see all three markets as huge growth areas for us, and we're trying to differentiate by having domain specific SKUs from a private wireless network offering.
That's amazing. I think a lot of the use cases which you are mentioning is also resonating a lot with our customers and whom we've been talking to, especially in the disconnected and the local edge processing. So where do you think this solution is going to evolve for the future scenarios, you think, Akhil? Projecting.
No, absolutely. We see each of these as $1 billion opportunity segments for us, right? And where we see the scale is really giving them that same ease of cloud experience that they're used to in scenarios that you can offer them. And that's where I think, what you talked about, the hybrid deployment becomes so crucial for us. At the end of the day, edge computing capability is limited, and we want to make sure the most process intense applications are there, like the MEC application, along with the RAN application, which is very demanding on the cloud platform. So we see growth areas in that segment per se, or that deployment construct. And the other area that we see is how we can scale this towards large deployments, right? Typically, we are starting with 2,500 or 25K square footage buildings, but really when you look at complex deployments north of 1 million square footage, we see the value of that small deployment, but really addressing the scaling needs. So we see from a technology point of view in both areas, but again, as I said, the growth area for us, each of them, could be $1 billion business.
$1 billion for each of these use cases sounds exciting, right? And especially bringing edge compute to where connectivity is limited and in rugged locations is exactly what we are excited about as well at AWS Snow. And we are looking forward to partnering with you on this. And thanks a lot, Akhil, for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights on local edge processing with AWS Snow. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
There you have it. So we had a chance to talk to a couple of customers about how they are doing local data processing with Snow at the rugged edge. To summarize and to cap it all, Snow products essentially enables you to capture, process, and store data at the local and the rugged disconnected edge. And you also have the option of moving only the data that you need to AWS, depending on how your use case allows. And Snow also allows you to enable a single deployment model where you develop in the cloud using the same APIs that you are used to and move them to the rugged edge applications. There you have it, folks. Thanks a lot for joining us today in the Hybrid Cloud Day and Local Data Processing Hour. You heard from AWS Outpost, AWS Snow, as well as IoT services on how you could run local data processing on your edge. Thanks a lot for joining us today at the Hybrid Cloud Day with Snow services on how you can run local data processing at the rugged and disconnected edge.